yourself.
Curious Comedy.
What's up, Portland?
Thank you so much for coming. Oh my
Podcast
gosh.
normally, that's why we're sitting in chairs. Thank you so much for coming out. For those of you who maybe don't know what we do, this is an improvised musical.
Yeah, make some noise if you got brought by a friend. Yeah,
Hey.
you brought all these friends?
You brought this table?
Oh.
It's gonna get weird for you.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Okay,
great.
don't worry if we say we forgot that we were bears and people are like, they're all bears. And when we're playing a lot of animals, although I shouldn't set it up so that maybe we play a non-animal show. Although, let's be real.
But let's
be sober.
Very slim.
Yeah.
But thank y'all for coming out, and thank you for bringing people against or for their will.
I know. It's really so kind of both sides. Kind of our fans to bring more people.
Kind of the other
Thank
people
you so
to
much.
take just the biggest risk of coming to see musical improv. When it goes bad, it goes so bad.
Very bad.
It really does. So you've taken a huge leap of faith tonight, and we really appreciate that.
What's dorkier than musical improv?
Zero.
Zero things. Zero things.
Nothing, no things.
And we're leaping into that with abandon. We're you know what? We found it. It's prime dork.
Yeah, we're adults. We're gonna do this. We normally have a guest who we chat with. We're not trying to figure out. We don't have one tonight.
We didn't lose them, but because we don't have a guest to talk about their lives. What's your name here?
I'm Nikki.
Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
Nikki, will you give us just a word just to get us going?
Something to talk about.
Nikki is the kind fan who brought a whole table. So she's in the lead, and this is a competition. But yeah, Nikki
The winner will be allowed to stay for the entire show.
The rest of you we will slowly kick out.
Not know how it ends. Which is a weird choice for us, but we're sticking with it. But yeah, just a word so that people don't think that we've
Written
planned an
this.
insane musical.
This is honestly for your friends. They're but seriously, they wrote that. We'll be no, she said. Potluck.
Potluck.
I think I've talked to you about this before, but this is a memory I have, and it's a memory I had multiple times, but it's a way that I know I was a very sensitive child, but only sporadically. Sometimes I was a very bold child who could never be criticized. I was
a willful child.
Yeah, I was I'm the best. But a memory where it really still brings it back and I can conjure the feeling is I remember going to the piano studio that my siblings and I studied at. We would have potlucks after recitals. And I remember feeling so nervous for my mom if not enough people ate her dish.
It is a weird sort of group tribal judgment on your cooking.
Yes, and sometimes my mom, my mom is a great cook, and so I don't really know what I was worried about, her stuff slayed. Oh.
But what your Passover dish is very much a reflection on you.
Yeah, and also just to touch on this really quickly, one time, keep playing, I love it, and I trust you, but I do want to just give you, I really am telling you this.
Yeah.
We had a mock trial party at my house, and my mom made a bunch of food, and we went swimming in the pool. She was so generous, but she had recently heard this recipe for pineapple with cheddar cheese and Ritz crackers, and I was okay, so someone knows it, but I was Mom, it's too risky. And I'm too afraid of what will happen when no one tries it.
Hey, Mom, can I talk to you real quick?
What is it, sweetheart?
The entire mock trial team is out there.
I know, I'm so excited, sweetheart.
It's just that I'm looking at the table right now, and I just want to be the one to tell you that dish is a risk. That dish is a risk. You don't know how it's gonna end up with this because that dish is a risk. That dish is a risk.
No.
That dish is a risk. Even more so than an exotic fish. That dish is a risk.
Matthew, don't you worry. Don't worry your little head. I have all types of dishes.
some unorthodox herbs on the side over there.
It's just a little bit of parsley.
Why would you do that?
It brightens the whole thing
No,
up.
I don't think it does.
We gotta push these kids, Matthew. That's what's up.
No, we don't.
That dish is a risk.
They are children.
That dish is a risk.
That dish is a risk.
It's not a risk.
Matthew's mom laid out quite the spread here.
Honestly, top spread. When like it was coming to the end of the season and people were like, who's gonna host the mock trial banquet?
Can I just say?
Yeah?
Prosecution has been on their fucking grind. And the defense team, like, makes me shake with anger.
Dude, listen, we all know defense has an easier path because the cases are written to be even, so it's easier to prove that the prosecution has not met their burden of proof.
These are all mock trial specifics that everyone knows.
Dude, it's just like, everyone knows.
Listen, Clark, it's
Yeah?
just like, as my co-counsel on prosecution, I just can't help but feel like the defense is not lifting their weight here.
Brian?
And this, the people versus
Madison
Casco.
Brian, it's the end of the season, man. Why are you beefing? We're seniors, dude. You gotta leave this behind. From now we have to go into like, I think in college they call it like moot court.
Yeah. And I know it's over, I know we did as well as we did, and I know I'm just kind of like, it's about legacy. What people remember. It's about the path you leave behind. It's about a legacy to the sophomores and freshmen. When you walk through the halls, you should blow their fucking minds. If a freshman comes up to me and he knows me from mock trial, I want him to be like visibly shaken for like at least a while. And it's just my goal, think it's clear for all to see that mock trial is about a legacy.
It's about legacy.
It's about a legacy.
What they say when you're gone.
When you're gone.
It's not about the verdict, who was right and who was wrong.
matter at all.
No, the verdict doesn't matter.
No,
There's a
no.
separate scoring sheet. And this is about our legacy, doing things that they cannot repeat. It's about legacy. Legacy.
Oh, what the tiny kids remember about you and me. Legacy.
Legacy. But what if we're wrong? What if we should let them build upon what we did so one day they're better than we were?
The words that you just said right now make me shake in anticipation. I'm so angry. What is this? Some kind of cross-examination? It's
About legacy. Legacy. How all those kids remember you and me.
Oops, how do you spell that? I did it a second ago.
Legacy.
That's it, legacy. Man. I knew we made the right move by not being on the spelling bee team.
Dude, honestly, like, what high schoolers on a spelling bee team? Also,
Excellent point.
dude, also, Brian, that's a solo sport. That's a straight up solo sport.
Thanks, Clark. I'm into that.
And like, we're a team, you know? Like, when I'm doing the opening and I'm like laying out that path, and then you circle back in that closing, and we're like, hey, did you see what we did? And in the meantime, we conduct direct and cross-examinations.
Hell yeah. Character witnesses, main witnesses, other mock trial things.
Experts, cops, referring to their affidavits.
See what's going on over there with those nerds at the defense end of the table?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I hated it then and I hate it now.
Who do they think they are?
I think they're so much better than we are.
You know what? I blame television.
Thank you. It is the media's interpretation of like a glorious prosecution, and the defense is always like,
It's like, I'm sorry, you know our system doesn't work if people don't have a good defense. It's just like, we are here not taking any of the glory, not hammering our fists and saying, for the law, for justice.
Yeah.
We're just the part that makes sure, hey, someone gets to get defended. This is America.
this is America, and if you don't even get to get defended, then it isn't even America, and where even is that?
It's just like...
There's just not enough good media interpretations of what we do. There's My Cousin Vinny, the movie which I know you haven't seen.
I have. No?
But it's very good, and you should watch it.
I guess, you know what? You're forgetting about our number one,
Whoa.
Spencer. How could you forget?
Oh, Alicia, I'm sorry. What did I forget?
Atticus Finch.
Oh.
Every defense attorney's bay.
You're right. You know, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, just sweating and scared, and then I remember, what would Atticus Finch do in this moment?
And we won't take in that Watchmen book, just the original.
Oh, Don't Tell a Watchman, the one that was like published maybe kind of against her will way later?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This is Just to Kill a Mockingbird
Just
stuff.
to Kill a Mockingbird.
When I think about his face as it dabs with sweat, trying to make sure he did it all so he doesn't live with regret. As I think about him pointing out all the sections of reasonable doubt and teaching compelling lessons to Gem and Scout, I remember you're never in a pinch. I remember that morality is a cinch. I remember Atticus Finch.
Sometimes when I'm afraid and scared that the world is going badly, I remember that brave, brave man in the sorry surrounding Boo Rally. And I think to myself, why make a fuss? All I have to do is follow the strong moral backbone of Atticus. You're never
In a pinch, remember
justice is a cinch.
Remember Atticus Finch.
You know what?
What?
I think in this moment I'm realizing that I am gay. Like upon...
Because you wake up in the middle of the night thinking
I'm-
of what are
yeah.
And can I ask?
Sure.
First of all, am I the first person you've told?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, Spencer! What an honor.
Thank you.
Is it now? Are you seeing like your own amalgamation of like good-looking people into Atticus Finch, or is this straight up Gregory Peck? Because
I hadn't even thought of Gregory Peck.
is such a zaddy.
No, it's just in my mind's... It's in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of thinking like, man, I really like Atticus Finch. And then I thought about it a little more, and the phrasing of that same sentence became like, man, I really like Atticus Finch.
Yeah.
There's something going on, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm gay. This is a great day for me.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
You know what?
I still hate those guys over there.
Yeah. I bet they would never have such like an open conversation with each other. They're probably just going, "Oh, we're the best."
Yeah. Can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah, of course. Is it the we're the best?
Yeah, it's that. Yeah. Can I tell you something about this living room right now?
Yeah.
The feng shui of it's making me angry. And I don't mean to like lay that out against Matthew's mom or whatever, because she has a tastefully decorated home, whatever.
Dude, Matthew's mom's a very nice lady, so tread lightly.
Yeah. It's not even that. Honestly, you know who I blame?
What?
Matthew's dad.
Why?
Because I think that Matthew's dad is responsible for the layout of this room. Look at where the TV is.
But wait, there's no way of even like lobbing that criticism that doesn't imply that like Matthew's mom doesn't have like agency.
How so? I
It's
think
just
you're
like-
right. I just want to understand.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, you perceive something negative, and you're like, I know and love Matthew's mom and see that she's a rad lady, so there's no way she could have made this choice, which might be true, but what that still posits is that she doesn't have those self-respect and wherewithal to stand up to her husband who's making a bad choice.
For sure, but that's also assuming that she recognizes that choice as the bad choice that I
Totally.
recognize it as.
Totally.
As opposed to just a choice that like she thinks is fine but is upsetting to me.
But I still think you were like attributing blame, and so I was like, okay, so this must be like at least slightly objectively negative.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, I think these conversations are important to have.
Yeah. And if like this was like my direct examination of you, I would like lay the foundation to help you get to that point.
Oh, if this was your direct examination of me as like a witness from the other side, you would have just gotten straight 5s.
Yeah, thank you.
5.
Five. Best score you can get on the scoring sheet that has nothing to do with the
1
verdict.
to 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Triple weighted if you do pre-trial.
Hell yeah.
All right, but
yeah,
what
I didn't even check in with what the pretrial guys are doing over here.
Oh, look at that cloud!
Whoa! What does it look like to you?
Oh my gosh! I kind of think, well, I think it looks like a narwhal, but the end of its horn has a flower instead of a horn.
I think it looks like a dolphin with a flat face and a horn. Oh no, I'm thinking narwhal. And there's a flower at the end of the horn, too. Looking at clouds, looking at clouds.
What about that one?
Oh, that one? I think it looks like a horse, like a tiny horse that's very small, and it's pulling what looks like Santa's sleigh, but Santa is a flower.
I think it looks like a reindeer pulling Santa's sleigh, but it started to zoom back towards the narwhal, so now it has the flower.
Looking at clouds, looking at clouds. Oh, what about that one? Oh, wait, can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. That one looks like some metal spherical shape going through the sky, but instead of spherical, it has wings. Oh, that's not a cloud, that's an airplane. Okay, I see what I did there. I saw a plane and I thought it was a cloud, but it isn't a cloud, it's a plane, and I'm embarrassed. We're supposed to be looking at clouds, looking at clouds.
Ooh, look.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow.
That one looks like a bust of Beethoven, except it's more like Bach.
And instead of a bust, it has arms and legs and a torso. I guess it kind of just looks like
Bach. Looking at clouds. Looking at clouds.
Man, they're just like total nerds. I don't even want to
Looking
think
at
about what they're doing.
clouds. Looking at
Hey,
clouds.
pretrial.
What?
What are you guys doing?
Looking at the party we got invited.
Yeah, but no, that's not what I mean. I
Oh.
mean, what are you doing outside of the party?
Oh, we're looking at clouds.
Can I say something that I think doesn't get said enough?
Sure.
You guys did a really killer job this year.
I knew it, Xander.
Yeah. He always respected us, he just wouldn't say so.
Well, it's hard because, like, you guys have a lot of flash being the prosecution lawyers, but really, like,
Yeah.
what? It's pretty cool what pretrial does. You know, we argue in front of a real judge to get a piece of evidence thrown out, citing constitutional precedent and court cases. It's very cool and hard, and we have to think on our feet.
Yeah. And it's like doubly hard because you're kind of in your own way like isolated and separate from the rest of the team.
He saw it, Xander.
Yeah, he didn't say it, but he sees us. I feel seen.
Yeah, it's really hard. It was just kind of like me and Xander in the room going over, like, if we could use the people versus Tinker. You can always use the people versus Tinker.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to what the pretrial was, to be totally honest.
Oh.
I just kind of checked in to see, like, is the piece of evidence in, is it out? But that was not really because of you, that was just because I had my mind, like, so much on what we were doing.
Yeah, no, Brian, you were the prosecution closer, captain of the team. We get it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How would you remember me? Like, what would you say is my legacy? Wow.
Whoa, what do you think about it?
Honestly? I mean,
I'll think about the first time we all met at the bus. And I'll think about how I was filled with fear, but also trust. I'll think about how you said, this is the song we play on the bus, and we don't vote on the song. This is the song.
I'd say equal parts fear and admiration.
Yeah.
Equal parts fear and admiration. You come on kind of strong, but then you finish also strong. So equal parts fear and admiration.
Why does the song have to be the general by dispatch? It doesn't get us amped up at all.
Yeah, it's like not really the best pre-trial jam.
We're trying to get super excited and we're really hot in our suits. And you're like, this is the song we play. And you'll like it, that's the truth.
So it's, I guess,
Equal parts fear and admiration.
with like a hint of pent-up disappointment at your refusal to listen to other ideas, but
Equal parts fear and admiration. We'll never forget how you impeached the cop on your cross-examination.
it filled us with equal parts
Fear
and
Matthew, sweetheart.
I can't-
Listen, you begged me to host it, okay? You said, Mom, I'm only a witness. The lawyers won't hang out with me.
What, Mom, what if I go out there and they're eating the weird garlic bread? And they're talking about, and it is weird, and don't make a face like it's not. There's parsley on it. Our Italian great-grandparents would be rolling in their Sicilian graves right now.
Matthew,
What?
you said, Mom, I'm a sophomore.
I know.
I have a lot to prove.
I know.
Can we please host the banquet? And I said, what a spread I'll make. And now you're just hovering around me in the kitchen and you're not out there talking to any of the lawyers, and they might help you figure out how you could be a lawyer next year.
You're right. There's only so much you can do as a witness. You get to go on and you do your 5-minute examination, your 5-minute cross-examination.
And that's hard because the cross-examination is done by a student from a different school.
And
You
they
can't
hate
you can't prepare. You have to just know your affidavit.
Yeah. But
It's hard.
No, I know it's
And it's
hard.
a great area to score points.
But it's not the flashy the flashy dream of what I want to do.
Well, that's why you still have 2 more years in the program, Matthew.
You're
But
right.
you could learn a lot from those older kids, you know? Let them be your guide.
You're saying go out there and demand that they like the food.
No.
Got it.
It's not.
I understand.
Not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah, well, what are you saying then?
I'm saying don't just sit down and let the defense rest. I'm saying go out and show how you're smart and prosecute.
Oh, Mom.
I'm saying get out there and don't stop, and I promise they won't object to having a brand new friend.
You're saying get out there. Just trust that they'll be real good sports. And when I show them my true self, they won't want to hold me in contempt of court. They'll just think that I am a normal kid who's the best. And the things that I say, they will allow to remain as admissible evidence.
They won't object to a brand new friend. They won't object to a brand new friend.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
I'm
Good
gonna
luck.
go- Thanks.
And I'll take the parsley off the garlic bread.
No, leave it. It's inspired.
That's more like it.
I was just being afraid, like a defense attorney on the mock trial team, instead of brave, like a prosecutor on the mock trial team.
And I'd love for you to be inventive, like a pretrial attorney on the mock trial team.
You're right. All right, Mom. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Okay.
You don't need it.
You know what? What?
I said it, and then I said you didn't need it.
Oh,
Good luck. You don't need it.
okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yes, my mother made that garlic bread you're trying right now.
I really like it. I really like it.
You do?
Yeah. You know what? It's like parsley's like a tiny salad. We should put it on more things.
Yeah.
Matthew, where have you been? Like,
Oh, just helping my mom in the kitchen.
that's really
'cause
nice.
She's got some pretty rad and brave dishes.
I'm sorry we didn't get to hang out more because you were a witness for the prosecution. I'm a defense attorney, so like really our paths just hardly crossed.
Yeah, Alicia, can I ask you a question?
But yeah.
Did you want to be a defense attorney or did you want to be a prosecuting attorney and it just didn't work out?
You know, honestly, when I tried out for the team, I thought it was a debate club. And
Hold on, you accidentally auditioned for the mock trial team and became an attorney?
yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm just like, I really like arguing and I like, presenting points, and it was the closest thing that our school had. So I became a defense attorney.
Your
And
sophomore year?
yeah, I don't know, is that good?
That's wild,
I don't know.
Alicia. That's crazy.
Is it good even?
Yeah, it's good even. Do you not realize?
No.
How
nobody-
incredibly impressive that is?
No, why is that even that big a deal? I mean, it's just not that many kids try out for the team. Very few people even know what it is. And only this year when we won county did people even say, what is that?
I don't know, it's impressive to me.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, bye. Who is that?
Who is that? Matthew. He was a witness for the prosecution.
Oh, yeah, I just
He played the park ranger.
No, I know who he is. I just only saw his hoodie kind of going through the door and I didn't see his face. Where's he been this whole time?
Inside helping his mom with this spread, but I can't imagine what more she could make.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
You may not know the answer to this.
Sure.
Has anyone else on this team come out to you?
No, are you just like, you're just ready to go for it?
I mean, honestly, no. I'm just kind of trying to like see if I'm the first.
No, I mean, no one's come out to me, but that doesn't mean that no one else is gay. And also, I am only a sophomore, so some of like the older kids, like, they don't even give me the time of day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think Brian is gonna come out to me, a defense attorney sophomore, which I just learned is very impressive.
Oh, yeah, it's extreme. I'm sorry, as a senior, I tried out to be a defense attorney 3 years in a row before I got it. Did you not realize it's really impressive?
No, I just was like, oh, no juniors tried, I guess, and here I am.
Alicia, I think you may not realize that you're a genius.
What do you mean? Come on.
I mean, everything you do in your kind of day-to-day life is like genius level intelligence, and I don't think you just don't know that. I've assumed you knew you were a genius. Do you not know that you're a genius?
No, I mean, like, I know I'm like smart, but genius, that's like people who like clean up MIT and then they solve a big hard math problem. That guy is a genius.
Yeah, sure.
People who grow up in Southie and don't even go to college, that guy's a genius.
I guess that's one kind of genius, one specific kind of genius. There are other kinds of genius too. There's one kind of genius, a specific kind of genius. A different kind of genius are you.
I've never even had a crush with someone who I thought was smarter, but then I proved myself and drove across the country for her. I've never even had a widower open up to me on a park bench about his dead wife.
That's the same specific genius. You've seen one kind of genius. We all know what you're talking about. That's just one example of a genius. One Matt Damon genius. There are other kinds of genius, no doubt.
I don't know. Am I smart? I suppose, yes, that's true. And with big ideas I can grapple. But never have I gotten in a bar fight in Cambridge and said, how do you like them apples?
That's just one kind of genius. One kind of genius. The only kind of genius you know. There are other kinds of genius. You're a different kind of genius.
I'm not being humble, so you know. I promise that's the kind of genius I am not fronting. I only know of geniuses from Good Will Hunting.
Oh, Lisa. Hey, Clark.
Yeah, Brian.
We've both been out to each other for a long time. And it didn't seem important to me to talk about, I mean, like, we've known.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
And it didn't feel, it wasn't like we were hiding it just like didn't seem like there was a reason to talk about it since we weren't romantically interested in anyone
Right.
at this school.
Right, nor each other. We were just like, bro, I'm gay. And you were like, me
Bro,
too.
yeah, me too.
And I was like,
into
not for you.
That's okay.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
Why
I mean,
do all straight guys seem to think that every gay guy is attracted to all of them?
I don't know, dude. Exposure, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like a how many people do you know situation. But like, and I think that's honestly our problem. Like, obviously, I think our time's gonna be more like in college. It's hard for people to come out at such a young age. There's so many hormones, so many questions.
I just don't even know why I felt like talking about this right now. Just kind of wanted to say it, you know?
Well, like, have you ever had like a crush on a guy like at our school? Cause like my only crush has been on, as you know, ceramics teacher Mr. Paku.
Yeah. Dude fills out those trousers.
Dude. Also, like, I can't help but like walk by his studio and just be running mad ghost fantasies. Also, like, you remember when he grew his hair out in between sophomore and junior year, and I was like, dope choice.
Yeah. Normally when like adult men grow their hair out, I'm like not into it, but on Mr. Paku.
But also, like, he's only like, I think he's only like 34.
I think you're right. I think he actually might even be younger than that.
No way.
Yeah, Mr. Paku. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Make me wanna
Pooh, I know it's gonna get hot when we open up that oven. What is it called? A kiln.
It's called a kiln. And I'm not sure you open it. Oh, maybe some of them are open all the time, but no, I think
Just
you're
put
right.
it-
Some you open, Mr.
Mr. Pooh.
Mr. Pooh. And to be clear, I don't actually care about ceramics at all. You're just giving me excuses to take that detour down that school hall.
Honestly, I have no purpose for pots or even a plate. I just wanna see your face and picture us on a date, Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you go.
I can't do this anymore.
What? Why not?
Well, for one thing, the clouds kind of cleared up.
Yeah, it's nighttime and it's hard to see them. Let's play What Do You Think the Clouds Look Like? If you could see the clouds.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. Maybe we should talk to anybody else.
But we spent so much time with just us in pretrial, and we got to know each other real well, and I'm comfortable with you.
But we should talk to somebody
Who
else.
do you want to talk to?
Well, I don't know, anybody. I just worry that we're codependent.
Huh. I don't mean to be all lawyery, but what evidence do you have that the two of us have become codependent?
Well, if I could, like, lay out, You text me in the morning, what are you wearing? Let's not match again.
Well, I don't want to be at school in the same clothes as my best friend.
You ask me, are we trying tofu yet? Are we saving that for February?
Well, I just want to eat tofu, but eat it with you, so not if you think it's scary.
This is some codependent bullshit. This is some codependent bullshit.
Wait, what about when I take a test and then ask you if the answers are right?
Not as bad as when you make us fall asleep on speakerphone at night.
Well, how am I supposed to have sweet dreams if I don't hear your voice?
This is clear and the path is here. We seriously have no choice. This is some codependent bullshit. This is some codependent bullshit.
I think that I can prove you wrong. It's easy, I fear. You just go stand over there, and I'll stay over here. Where are you going right now? Oh, I see. Oh, God damn it. You're right. Oh, man.
We can still be friends, but maybe not friends like this. You know you are my best friend, and forever you I'll love. But I had a bad feeling that time we shared a single glove, that this was gonna be hard when we go to college. This is some codependent bullshit. This is some codependent bullshit.
The glove was taking it a step too far. There was no physical way it could fit.
This
It's some
codependent bullshit. Oh, math you?
Yeah?
Oh, sorry. I just I think we needed. Well, Spencer was here. This is weird, but do you have any more parsley?
You want more parsley?
I don't know.
Yeah. Passover was like a week ago, so we're like lousy with parsley right now. You get like a ton of it, and then you don't have anything. Honestly, I think that's why it got put on the garlic bread in the first place.
Well, that's really inventive on your mom's part.
Yeah.
That's like she's playing her own chopped chicken. I mean, kitchen.
Yeah. No, I knew what you meant. Yeah, I'll go get some right now.
Okay, great.
Okay. I'm back, I have it. Our kitchen is small, it's more like a kitchenette, really.
Wow. She made all this in a small kitchen?
Yeah, she's the best.
Your mom's like kind of a genius.
Yeah.
Phew. Now I know two. I'm a Gentile. So what's the word? During Passover, this is bitter herb.
Kinda, sorta. You bet. I mean, some people use the bitter. Or no, I was about to say haroset, but that's not right.
If you don't like this, we can just pass over it. If you don't like this, we can just pass over it.
Like in your life, there's some things that you just have to try. You gotta be brave and take your seat at the table. Don't leave it empty for Elijah.
Do you like this? 'Cause we can pass over it. Do you like this? 'Cause we can pass over it. I'm sorry if I said something dumb. I'm a genius, but I can't quit. If you don't like this, we can pass over it.
Alicia, can I tell you something that I believe is true? Worse than any of the actual plagues would be not getting to see you.
I didn't know what tonight had in store, but I'm learning so much from this fellow sophomore. And if you could like this, then let's not pass over it. And if you could like this, then I won't pass over you. What?
What? Oh my God, Alice, Alicia, sorry.
What?
I don't mean to butt in.
What are
What's
you
happening
doing?
right now?
Get out of
This
here.
seems like a good moment for you.
We're having a huge moment, Spencer.
Okay, do you need me?
No.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Will you give me a ride home later? You're my cool senior friend.
hell yeah.
Great. Get out of here, though.
Okay, yeah, goodbye.
Sorry.
Is there, oh, sorry. I know he's a really good friend of yours.
Oh my gosh, no. It's not my story to tell, but oh my gosh, no.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Cool. I know that, like, you have to be really close when you're co-counsel, but, like, we're just friends.
Oh, great. Hey, do you have anyone to go to winter formal with?
6 months from now?
Yeah.
Hey,
Honestly, I'm setting goals in my life and getting to them now.
And I
I'm
love
not
it.
waiting
No,
for
no, no.
winter formal to come around anymore.
I'm so sorry,
Do you
sorry.
want to go to prom senior year too? All the dances. The Sadie Hawkins dance. I know you're supposed to ask me for that one. In fact, yeah, take that one back. That's your gift to give. to. And if you don't, I will walk away. That's a promise I make to you. But also, let's start slow. I'm new at this, and I feel like it's going bad.
Stop. Let's not skip ahead.
Let's not pass over.
Let's live in the now.
Let's not pass over.
But there's something here, and I know how. We'll just say something. We'll start at homecoming.
Let's just set one thing.
And not pass over the rest.
Yeah. Will you go to homecoming with
Yeah.
me? Wow!
Matthew,
What?
how's it going?
It's good.
I told you.
What?
Did someone think you were a prosecutor?
Mom, I know right now.
Okay.
She's right there.
Okay. Guys, I'm bringing out dessert soon. It's pineapple with cheese and it's on fire.
I don't want to hear. I don't know how I feel about that. Pineapple.
That sounds rad.
Yeah. You know what? Normally I would be like, no, thank you. But Mrs. Matthews' mom,
For sure.
I trust you.
Hey, Spencer, did you need a seat at the table? This chair doesn't need to be empty.
Yeah. I'd love to.
Come here, bro.
Are you sure? You
Yeah.
don't want to hang out with cooler people? or
Dude, it's the
whatever?
end of senior year. This is when boundaries fall.
Honestly, you guys are so cool, and I've really looked up to you so much. You're so good at what you do. and I love
Dude,
you a lot.
stop it. Spencer, you're a closer in your own right. I'm just an opener.
I mean, just an opener.
Dude, it's
You set the tone for the entire.
I know, but it doesn't, it can be set in stone. It doesn't have to be flexible with what happened in the case. Brian's the man. He's the one with the real legacy.
No, man. But it's cool of you to say.
No, but honestly, your closing was rad, and I thought it had a lot of poeticism to it.
Thank you.
I felt shit, man. That guy, and you wrote that. Mine's straight up written by the coach. I just memorized it. That shit's wrote.
Honestly, I was real hard on the defense earlier, but I think it was just because I felt a little threatened by you guys, because you were very good at what you do, and yeah.
Dude.
It's hard for me to say I respect someone younger than me because it makes me feel like I should
Spencer's
be
a
further
straight up
along.
senior, man.
What?
Spencer's a straight up senior.
Oh, then you're tight as hell, bro.
Yeah, dude. This cat's a senior, you know?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I know.
And I knew that.
Hey. Bro, sorry we got defensive. We put up our defenses. But now we're tearing them down like old rickety fences. I'm sorry we got defensive. Put up all our fences. Bringing it all down 'cause it's the end of the year. We were governed by fear.
We were governed
By fear.
and that doesn't make us closer. It's incredibly clear that you can't be governed by fear. Hey, pretrial friend, it's time to let you walk away. I can't be scared of the unknown, and all of this starts today. Although I do feel much better when I wake up and you're very near. It's occurring to me now. You can't be governed by fear.
And if I put my hand and your hand was also there,
What?
is that the kind of thing you would like, or would you feel self-conscious of your
I like
hand?
that a lot.
And if we say that we can't wait for fall in the year, will you promise me you won't be governed by fear? And you have to make all the dishes you like. You can't think about if the kids will try them. You know your destiny is clear. You can't be governed.
It's me, your husband. Hello, I'm here. everything you've done in this living room is genius, and it's clear that you never were and you never will be governed by fear. The end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That was the world premiere too of We Object to Fear.
Yep.
The musical.
The world premiere of We Object to Fear,
Fear.
the musical. You've all seen it. You've all seen this.
And you literally have.
You literally have. But right now, in your mind, I want you to imagine what is true, which is that you've just seen this performed by many, many actors and
Full costume.
full sets, full orchestra.
choreography.
And we're gonna bring all of those talented people back out on stage right now.
You wanna-
There's
oh my gosh,
here's
give it
the
up.
director. Give it up for all of them. Here they come.
The choreographer.
Director, the musical director,
The
costume designer. So,
This is a common occurrence in regional theater when shows are first getting on their feet. We'd love to have you sit here. Thank you, you've been an amazing audience. But if you could just sit here and give us a little bit more of your time, we'd love to do a little talk back. So that means we get questions from the audience about things they saw in this production, and we'd love to answer. So if you want to just raise a
just
hand.
raise your hand if we get the lights up a little bit
Great.
so we can find you. But if you have questions about
You
the
wanna start
script,
there 'cause it's nice and close?
Yes, hello. Who is your question for?
My question is for the caterer.
Excellent. Yes, the caterer of this performance. Yes.
Yes.
I love how interactive it was. How did you bake garlic bread for the whole theater?
Thank you. When they came to me and they said, "Will you make the food so we have an immersive experience?" I said, wait. They said, "It is mostly garlic bread." And I said, "I am French, but I will do my best." So the parsley it is my own collaboration with the text. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it and it is not stuck in your teeth.
Excellent question. We have any other questions? Yes, there's one.
Hi, yeah, this question is for the writer. I was wondering, yeah.
Writers, it took a village is what people are responding to right now. This is a podcast, and if it's not sent to the mic, no one can hear it.
I was wondering if the real life Mr. Pichu has seen this and what his response has been.
Okay, I'll take that. I wrote the first draft, and a lot of people meddled with my creation.
That's on me.
Yeah, Mr. Pichu, real life ceramics teacher.
Can I just say, because I feel like you and I had a dialogue about this as writers, as to whether or not it was appropriate to objectify a member of a literal faculty in such a blatant and obvious way.
Yeah, for sure. I guess where I was coming from was just a place of truth, a place of write what you know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in this that I used my imagination for. This was straight up just me pulling exact vignettes from my own life.
It's based on the literal mock trial case of 2003.
The People versus Madison Casco. Yeah, that's right.
But to answer your question, we of course got his consent to use him in this, and he honestly loved it. Yes. Any other questions for anyone? Yes. Who's your question for?
Yes, hello. I would like to have a question for the two actors who played the codependent friends.
It's actually only one of us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We use a lot of mirrors, but it's just one person.
Oh, okay. So my question is, was that written as a true to life relationship? I have a codependent friend relationship, and I'm trying to step out of that. Do you have any advice?
Thank you so much for that question. And the fact that you saw two of us on stage is like a huge compliment. It is just me standing next to a mirror.
Which is part of what I think is so impressive about it is that you use a form of throat singing to sing harmony by yourself.
It took me a long time.
Casting this part was very difficult.
A lot of YouTube videos about throat singing, but You know what? My advice is like, you have to either make a clean break, compromise, or live in it forever. Those are the three choices. Those are sort of your three paths forward. Now, which one you'll take, I don't know. And I don't know which one's best, but those are literally the three things you could do.
Yes, in the arts, we like to say all paths are correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's easier for us to make art that way.
That's right. That's right.
Do we have any other questions? Yes, there's some.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this is for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I understand consulted on this. What sort of feedback did you have on the legal aspects of this?
Can we Skype in RBG?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
Hello?
Hi, Ruth. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, ladies and gentlemen. The notorious RBG of the Supreme Court. Do you have a second? I know you're very busy.
I'm very busy, but this is fine.
Do you remember when we... Yes, we're literally putting your picture up, which is a thing that we did not expect to be able to do. Do you remember when we sent you that advanced copy of the script of...
I object to fear,
I
of
Object
course.
to Fear.
Of course, I
Thank you for
remember.
taking time out of your very busy schedule to read it.
Mind like a steel trap.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the legalities of the script? I believe is the question.
You know, I love that you kept in my great punch-up joke. You can always use the people versus Tinker. It's a very funny joke.
Some would say it's a little niche, but it's very, very funny if you know what it's about.
It's very funny. Sometimes you have to have some specifics in comedy, and the people versus Tinker is a very
I
funny
don't
joke.
think people realize how funny you are.
Oh, well, you know, I have a lot of bigger fish to fry, but I am a real crack-up.
For sure. We thank you so much for your time.
And thank you.
You're welcome. I think we have time for one more. Yes. So who is your question for?
I'd like to jump back to throat singing. I was wondering if you could give us like a 30-second lesson on how to do it.
Thank you so much. It's so adorable that you think it could be 30 seconds. Yeah, so let me just give you like the starting place, which is that you open up. Okay, so that is in every way I mean. Okay. So physically, mentally, spiritually, vocally, throatily. And then it's really just about like allowing magic to come in and also using your diaphragm. So here you go. It's not cute, but it's effective.
You know,
Thank you. We do have time for one more question. Yes, coming to you.
Yeah, this question's for the executive producer. I just would like to know what you're planning for the spin-off for the Law & Order series.
Oh, someone's in the industry and knows a little buzz.
yes, thank you. We are very excited for the spin-off. As everyone knows, musicals are always a financial good investment. Spin-off musicals, doubly so. Well, here's what we'll actually, I didn't want to do this. We've actually written some of it already. Now, weirdly, the things that take place in it mostly, like most sequels do, takes place on a boat. You know, the
That's
first
right, so
one
we
you
deal
do
with
in
the legalities of international waters.
Yes. It's called Maritime Law, Maritime Law. I will sing a little piece of it for you right now.
Ba-ba-doo-boo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba. Life is good on a boat. Ba-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-da. There are no laws, I don't want to gloat.
People tell me you can't murder a woman.
It is so great to see your face with our face.
Again, this is a podcast, so if you like this, there's more, and they're on your phone for your ears.
Yeah. Off Book, the Improvised Musical Podcast with Zach and Jess for our friends of fans who came. Oh boy, what's happening in your head?
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
That's it. Have a great night, sleepy baby. See you later. Bye.